This upcoming weekend, the WWE will be presenting WWE Backlash in a long list of pay-per-views dating all the way back to the 90s. We have a long list of posters that associate with the Backlash event, and in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and tier rank every single one of them based on S tier all the way down to D tier. Before we begin the tier ranking, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Welcome back to the J Area Wrestling Show, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all the things pro wrestling that we discuss here on the channel, as well as the live streams that we host on occasion, opening the conversation to other pro wrestling fans alike. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and let's just jump right into the tier ranking now. Now, if memory serves, I think the first Backlash event was either the last In Your House or the first pay-per-view following the conclusion of the In Your House series. But with the first pay-per-view or poster we have, it's Mankind. It's Mankind with a different type of font for the Backlash lettering. It's something unique, something you would see kind of from the 90s era of wrestling. As you're going to see throughout the course of this video, a lot of the posters become a little bit simplistic. They become monotone and really have just a simple look to them. But here with the Mankind one, it's a little bit unique. It stands out, in comparison to the others. I'm going to go ahead and give this a B tier for Backlash, of course. Next up, we have the year 2000. Chris Jericho is on the cover. Backlash is now in its second event. I like this unique look. I look at movies as an inspiration for the posters of these pay-per-view events, and I look at Chris Jericho here on the cover, or on the poster, I should say. And I could see this being some kind of a movie, some kind of an action movie, maybe some kind of apocalyptic type of a, horror aspect to it. I'm really into it. I would give it an A personally. I like the coloring. I like the focus on Chris Jericho. Also the positioning in which he's standing there. It adds a little bit of a drama, a little intrigue. I'm going to put that in an A tier. Next up, the year 2001, Triple H, who is going to be very frequently featured here in this video. Backlash is essentially his pay-per-view when it comes to the posters, but this first one here with Triple H, we have a contrasting style, very dark in comparison to the other two posters that we've already ranked. You see Triple H hitting his classic pose, and then behind him, kind of like a silhouette, almost like a shadow-like type of a figure behind him, with the sledgehammer in hand. This was around the time that Triple H was feuding with The Undertaker. The two-man power trip were basically running the WWE. That was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, for those who are too young to remember. And then you look at it from this standpoint. This was one of the last times we were going to see Triple H in the WWE due to that quad injury that would keep him out all the way to the Royal Rumble in 2002 of the next year. Again, there are going to be a lot of posters here which are kind of simple. This one I would say is simple, but it's a little bit creative in terms of having that second Triple H, the shadow figure, if you will. I'm a fan of it. I feel like over the course of this video, we're going to start seeing more simple posters, for better or for worse. But for me, I would put this in B as well. Right next to Mankind, I think Mankind's is still a bit better than Triple H, but for the purpose of this, I'm going to put it right next to it. A back-to-back Triple H here, as in the year 2002, Triple H has just won the WWE Championship, defeating Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 18 in a matchup that many people consider to be one of the most underwhelming main events in WrestleMania history, but that's for another topic. Triple H now as the center focus for Backlash, back-to-back years. Call me crazy, right? The 2001 poster may be simple. The 2002 poster might be even more simple, but I kind of like this one a bit better because of the tone, because of the coloring. Again, it's simple. I'm a guy that likes simple things, and I look at this poster and it gets me interested. What's going on? What's the story? I like the shade that they have presented here on Triple H. I wouldn't necessarily put it above the B tier, but I can put it right next to his 2001 poster. Nothing too crazy, nothing too spectacular, but I do think it's an average poster, but still adds a little bit of intrigue. And speaking of intrigue, how about Team Angle? Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin, and Kurt Angle. Three of probably the best wrestlers in their era, back in the Ruthless Aggression era, that is. I love this poster. I love having the overhead, figures of them, and then the top of the poster, you see like the underlying motions of the silhouettes there. Again, I look at it in comparison of like a movie poster. Is this going to get me in the seats to watch the show? And I like the way they structured this. I like the comparison. I also like that we have stars like Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin front and center alongside a Kurt Angle. I love this poster. I'm actually going to put this in an A. We move on to the Raw exclusive pay per view. 2004's Backlash saw Chris Benoit defending his World Heavyweight Championship in a WrestleMania rematch against Shawn Michaels and Triple H in a triple threat match. Say what you want about the wrestler itself, but I look at the poster here. I want to like it. I really do. But I feel like it was hastily thrown together. I feel like they took one profile shot of Chris Benoit and just plastered on another picture here. It doesn't do anything for me. And I know some people are going to go in the comments and look at the Triple H ones, which are kind of simpler in that stuff. But I'm looking at it from this standpoint. We are now in the sixth edition of Backlash, and we're still not really getting dramatic. We're not really seeing any, increasingly added features to these posters. I want to like the Benoit poster, but I just feel like we're at this point of the game, we got to be introducing a little bit of more spice to it. I'm putting it at the C. Not terrible by any means, but it's just, come on, we can do it a little bit better, especially in 2004, where I thought was one of the best years for pay per views because you're talking about the movie posters, you're talking about the music that they had for these pay per views, the stage designs, and I see posters like that, and I'm like, okay, I see where we're putting our energy and where we're not. Now we're back to the Triple H era of Backlash, and in 2005 he was challenging Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship that he lost at WrestleMania 21. It was one of the three matches that they had in 2005. A really good feud, by the way. Check it out if you haven't. And if you have, go back and check it out anyway. Backlash 2005. I like this. I like the spotlight being on Triple H, and in the spotlight, you see his eye, keeping an eye on everything essentially as Triple H does nowadays. I think it's a big step up from 2004 in comparison to the other ones. There are going to be some that are good, some that are bad, but I do think it's certainly a step up from the previous few years. I really enjoy this. I'm going to put this in an A category. I like the look. I like that Triple H is in two different spots there. I like that idea. In comparison to 2004, though, we did something more. 2004 with Benoit, just to go back really quick, I feel like they just copied and pasted and plastered those images. Whereas this one, there's kind of a bit design to it. So 2006, Triple H again. It never ends. This might be the last one, I think, for Triple H. It's a simple poster. Him hitting his pose in the corner. 2006, it was a triple threat match between Triple H, Edge, and John Cena. So you have your main star, one of your main stars, on the poster. But again, I need to see some more creativity. It does seem cool, right? As a poster itself, but I look at it in the comparison of what we've already seen. I put this maybe above the Chris Benoit one, if I may, if it will let me. There we go. 2007. This is it, right? The sole purpose of this video was really for the 2007 poster. It's reminiscent of Jack Nicholson in The Shining, the whole "Here's Johnny" line. One of my favorite movies of all time. Keep in mind, too, this tier ranking is my personal list. I'm not saying that this is definitive and that you gotta tell everybody saying, like, hey, this is the number one, this is the number two. This is my personal list. And if you don't agree with it, sound off in the comments below. But with 2007, right, Edge is in the Fatal 4-Way matchup between Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, and the champion John Cena. A great Fatal 4-Way matchup, and it's perfect because it matches with a great poster here. Again, referencing The Shining. I love that movie personally. I'm putting this in S. Love the poster. Big fan of it. I have no words. No notes. It looks fantastic. And I think the selection of Edge, the ultimate opportunist, being the one to be on that poster, very reminiscent of the facials that Jack Nicholson was making during that film. I don't think you could have chosen a better person to portray him here in this poster. Then in 2008, The Undertaker was the face of Backlash, giving a Grim Reaper type of a feel to the poster. And I feel like, again, very appropriate given the character, given the theme of Backlash. You see him holding the classic Grim Reaper scythe, and to see him in that position, it just makes sense. It's kind of reminiscent of the 2006 poster with Triple H, but added a level of, drama to it. I keep using the word drama, but because you see him in the background there, it's dark, it's ominous, it's the Undertaker. He's representing the Grim Reaper. I like it. I think it's above the C tier. I think it would even be above the B tier. I think I'm going to put this in the A tier. I really like this poster. It stands out. I see it and I immediately know what show, I know what year. It stands out to me. 2009's had Randy Orton, who was already on the run of his life as he was the 2009 version of himself. That heel Randy Orton, man, was something else. And he's on the cover here for Backlash 2009. He was in a six-man tag between Triple H, Batista, and Shane McMahon, I believe, were the ones on the good guys' side facing off against Legacy. Randy Orton, one of the all-time greats. He's on this year's poster, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I look at this one, and it's simple, right? We talked about simplicity in pro wrestling, especially the posters. The modern era has been very simple. I don't think it's terrible. I still think it's better than C. I would put this in B. I like the fact that we have Randy Orton. You got that shot of him looking over his shoulder. It's a lot of references to back because of Backlash. I don't know if that's supposed to be a thing or if they're doing that intentionally, but we get a lot of those here in these posters. Between the years 2010 and 2015, the WWE took a break from Backlash, but in 2016 it became a SmackDown exclusive event, and on that edition's poster, the phenomenal AJ Styles. This era here for the posters is where we're going to see a significant drop off. A lot of them are simple. I feel like it's just a lot of floating heads, no design, just a match card. If anything, it's just showing you the matches that are going to be taking place. Not a lot. I mean, the biggest one when it comes to this is the eye color of Backlash, or the eye color of AJ Styles, I should say, for the Backlash poster. Aside from that, you really don't see anything. I love AJ. I think he's phenomenal. No pun intended. But the poster itself is not. I'm putting that in C. I put it behind Chris Benoit. Could have been a lot better. The following year, Shinsuke Nakamura, he was beginning to climb up the ranks here on SmackDown, and he was on the poster. Again, simple, but this one's effective because it's an action shot. We see Shinsuke Nakamura looking to be hitting his finish, the Kinshasa. I would put it over C tier. I don't think I would put anything above the B tier. I like the fact that it's an action shot. It gives us more perspective as to who Shinsuke is, what's his move set, what's his style. It's also important to take a look at these things when it's really on the outside perspective, because for people like you and I who follow the product, we know these people, we know what they're about, we know the moves, but for an outsider looking at it, how am I going to attract their attention? How am I going to try to, entice them to watch the show or watch the product? I feel like this is an effective poster. Is it a great poster? No, but given the era, it's going to have to be a great poster for that era. Now we get to 2018, and immediately you can see it. There's nothing but just floating heads. It says Backlash, Raw and SmackDown separation, no uniqueness. I'm putting that at D. I hate when they just get a bunch of faces and just plaster them on a poster. That does nothing for me. It seems so generic. It could literally be any show. You can just remove the name Backlash and have that spot be empty, and you would think it's literally any event. It could be a live event for that matter. And if a PLE or pay-per-view feels like a live event show, that's a huge issue for me. It should be treated as such a bigger event and not just some random event where there's no cameras or no fanfare. This 2018 poster, I absolutely hate it. Then we get to 2020, Edge versus Randy Orton, and what was supposed to be the greatest wrestling match ever. It's a step up from 2018, but again, I look at it and it's lazy. It's Edge versus Randy. We know who they are. We know that they're wrestling. And then in big letters, the greatest wrestling match ever. This was during the Thunderdome era where it was very limited in terms of what they could do for the product, and I understand. I think that's important to recognize when ranking it, but I'm looking at the poster itself, and again, I'm not a fan of it. It's literally just two faces and then big words saying greatest wrestling match ever. I don't like it. I think it's also important that if you're able to remove the letters, if you're able to remove the word Backlash, can I still have a certain feeling about this poster? Does it evoke any emotion, any interest? This one does not do that for me. We get to 2021, the Backlash edition. We see Bianca Belair, we see Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley. These are your top stars. I think that's a great choice, first of all. Having your top stars, you want to get the crowd into it. You want to get people invited into the show and recognize, hey, that's the guy on the poster. Hey, that's the girl that was heavily featured in the promotional tactics. But again, it's just four random faces. They don't even have matches together. Keep that in mind. These guys don't even compete against one another on this show. So it's really just thrown together. I don't like that. I don't like when things are just thrown together. Take away Backlash. It's a common theme. Take away Backlash, and you would think that's just a random wrestling poster that you could have picked up on the internet. 2022, back to Edge. And a little bit better than what we've seen. You take away the Backlash logo, there's still some intrigue, right? The lighting, the focus on the facial expressions of Edge. He's always been a great facial expression, I think. I look at Edge and I think he knows how to sell with his face. I think it's great. I think in terms of what we've seen the past several years from 2016 to 2021, it is certainly a step up. I would put this in the B category, probably above the Shinsuke shot. Nothing against Shinsuke, but I like those ominous type of posters that really stand out. Backlash from San Juan, Puerto Rico. It was the show where it was the San Juan street fight between Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar was also at that event. Selena Vega in her hometown versus Rhea Ripley for the championship. To me, it's floating heads, it's everybody on the match card, but it looks like a boxing pay-per-view kind of a poster where you have the matches lined up. I like the coloring, the focus on the red, white, and blue for the Puerto Rico flag. I actually like this. I think it's way better than just the random faces that we saw in 2018 and in 2021. I actually would even put it above this, the Chris Benoit one for that matter. I still would put Triple H above it because it's still floating heads and I have a thing about it. But I kind of like the idea that it's presented like a boxing pay-per-view where you have the matchups, against each other and seeing visually what am I going to be watching on this show. Last year's Backlash event saw Cody Rhodes defend the WWE Championship for the very first time against AJ Styles in a fantastic matchup and a great crowd there in France. I like this poster. It adds the level of depth to what we've seen with Cody Rhodes and how he finally was able to finish his story winning the WWE Championship. And again, I talked about Backlash, and there's some intrigue with the wrestlers' backs in these posters. Has his back towards us, but he has draped over his shoulder the WWE title. I love this poster. I love it because it's fresh off the heels of him winning the championship. There's a real focus on who was going to be the top guy in that pay-per-view. We know what the story is. We see that. You take away the logo. It's a very big thing. You take away the logo, and it's still pretty cool. Call me crazy. I'm putting that at S tier. Maybe because I'm a Cody guy, but also I like the contrast in the red and the blue. I like the focus on the championship. That's a big thing for me. The championships are important. I know there's some people who have the belief that, they're props, but I feel like on this show, if you're competing for a title, there should be a great level of importance and significance on those titles. And right here, front and center. Finally, we're at this year's edition of Backlash. We see Randy Orton making his big return to the posters here for Backlash. It is emanating from St. Louis, Missouri, the hometown of the Viper. And speaking of Vipers, you can see Randy's face here wrapped around with some snakes. We're assuming they're Vipers. I don't know. I'm not really an expert in snakes, but I like this unique design here. It's Backlash. It's Randy Orton. Has the snakes wrapped around him as he's the Viper. Adds a level of intrigue. You know me, I like the dark and ominous posters. I like it. I think it's a step up. We're seeing back-to-back great posters here for Backlash. 2024 and 2025, a solid 1-2 punch when it comes to Backlash. If they have one next year, very curious to see if they can make it for 3. But Backlash 2025, maybe not on S tier, because I don't want to give it out too much, but I do think it is suitable for an A tier. I enjoy it. I think it's a great looking poster. It's in the hometown of Randy Orton. We have the snakes as a focus because of Randy Orton. There's a consistent theme. I like it. I hope you guys like it. And if you enjoyed this video, the tier rankings of every Backlash poster from WWE's history, Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, comment down below which one is your favorite, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, as well as the live streams that we host 2 times out of the week, Sundays and Thursdays, to open up the conversation to other pro wrestling fans like you. Of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Thank you for hanging out with me today here in today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one.